Welcome. In this session, I'm going to discuss plant life cycles and alternation of generations. So this will be the last part of the chapter Plant Kingdom. So let's begin this session with plant life cycles, okay, and alternation of generations. Right. So here in plants, so there will be haploid cells, okay, and these haploid cells and also the diploid cells are capable of undergoing mitosis. So both can undergo mitotic cell division, and by undergoing, okay, mitotic cell division in case of haploid cells and in case of diploid cells, it results in the formation of different plant bodies. So we see a haploid plant body and a diploid plant body. Okay, so let's look at the haploid plant body is the gametophyte. So this is haploid plant body. So the gametophyte is the haploid plant body, and this is, of course, okay, N. Now this one undergoes mitosis. So it undergoes mitosis and results in the formation of gametes. So here those gametes, which we can classify into male and female gametes. So here gametes are single celled usually, and these are male gametes and female gametes. So the female gametes are X, okay, or ova. So the female gametes are X or ova, whereas the male gametes, okay, are the spawns. Okay, so the male gametes and female gametes we can see here. Okay, so here the male gametes will be also haploid. So they are also haploid, and these gametes, as I mentioned, okay, right, two, so that is the female gamete and the male gamete. So these male and female gametes will unite together, and that is, okay, fertilization. Okay, so fertilization. So union of this male gamete and female gamete is fertilization, and this results in the formation of zygote. So this zygote will be diploid. So because this the female gamete is haploid and this male gamete is also haploid. So union of those two haploid gametes results in the formation of diploid zygote. Now this zygote will undergo mitosis. Okay, so you can see the zygote is a diploid cell, and here the gametophyte is a haploid. So here I mentioned haploid cells and diploid cells both will undergo mitotic cell division. So the diploid cell, that is a zygote, will undergo mitosis and it develops into sporophyte, and this sporophyte will be diploid. Okay, now the sporophyte, in the sporophyte meiosis takes place. So meiosis is a reductional division that reduces the chromosomal number, and this results in the formation of spores, which will be haploid. And these spores, upon germination, they give rise to the gametophyte. and the cycle continues. Okay, so this is how the gametophyte phase. So this is the gametophytic phase. So this sporophyte is, okay, 2n. So this is diploid plant body. So this is diploid plant body. Okay, so you can see in this case the gametophytic phase. Okay, and this is the sporophytic phase. So the sporophyte gives rise to gametophyte, and the gametophyte gives rise to sporophyte. So this is what we call the alternation of generations. So in simple, I can say the gametophyte is gamete producing. Okay, so gametophyte is gamete producing and sporophyte is spore producing. Now in different groups of plants, okay, they show different patterns. Okay, in some groups you will see the gametophyte living for a longer time, okay, and sporophyte living only for a short period of time. And in some other groups you will see sporophyte living for a very longer time and gametophyte living only in short period of time. And in some cases okay, they may be in equal. Okay, so here basing on that we have classified the plants life cycles into three different types. So classified into three different types. So they are haplontic life cycle. So classified into three different types of life cycles. So based on, okay, so the length, okay, of those gametophyte living or sporophyte living. So we have classified into three types: haplontic life cycle, then diplontic life cycle, and then haplodiplontic life cycle. So these are three types of patterns that we see in plant groups. So let's discuss that which group of plants will exhibit a haplontic life cycle and what is haplontic life cycle, and which group of plants exhibit a diplontic life cycle. Okay, so we'll see about them. Okay, so first one we shall discuss about haplontic life cycle. Haplontic life cycle. Okay, so the life cycles in plants. So the first one, haplontic life cycle. So here coming to this haplontic life cycle, okay, we have first we will start with the gametophyte. Okay, so gametophyte. So we know gametophyte is haploid. Okay, so this gametophyte, okay, I just mentioned the gametophyte n. So the gametophyte in this case is free living, means it does not depend on the sporophyte. So previously in angiosperms I discussed that female gametophyte and male gametophytes which we have seen, they are developing and on the sporophyte and they're dependent on sporophyte, on nutrients, shelter and whatnot. Okay, so they take up and depend on the sporophyte. So in some cases, in the lower group of plants, we see the gametophyte will not be dependent on sporophyte. It lives independently. So that I call it free living. Okay, and then it will perform photosynthesis. So it will have, okay, chloroplast and is capable of performing photosynthesis. Okay, it performs photosynthesis and it is dominant phase, okay. So the plants that exhibit the haplontic life cycle, they have the gametophyte as the dominant phase. So of course, because of that reason only, we have given the name haplontic, because the gametophyte is haploid, okay. So the gametophyte is dominant phase. Now the gametophyte is, again one more point, it is multicellular, okay. So it's a free living, it performs photosynthesis, and it is a dominant phase, and it is multicellular, okay. So this gametophyte, okay, so most of the time the plant will be in the gametophyte stage only. So I told you, in case of angiosperms, so whenever you see a plant that is tree, the tree will be seen as a tree only, okay, on which the gametophytes actually develop. So most of the time, okay, you will see, of course, right from its germination till it dies, you will see only in the form of tree. So gametophytes will form now and then, okay, right. And in case of lower organisms, that is opposite. So you will see the plant as a gametophyte, okay. That will be the maximum we'll see living in that phase, that is gametophytic phase. And this gametophytic phase, I told you, is a gamete producing. So gametophyte is gamete producing. So now this produces gametes, and the production of gametes is called gametogenesis. Production of gametes is called gametogenesis, and there will be male gamete, okay. So here I'll just put two lines that indicates, okay, one is male gamete and one is female gamete, okay, right. So that's why I have put two lines here. So gametogenesis results in the formation of male gametes and female gametes, okay. So these male and female gametes will fuse, that is what syngamy. So it results in fertilization, okay. And fertilization will result in the formation of zygote. So this zygote is diploid in condition, and this zygote immediately, so not it takes time, so it immediately, once the zygote is formed, it will undergo meiosis, and as a result it produces, okay, spores. So usually in meiosis, the end of the meiosis will result, okay, from one mother cell, the formation of four daughter cells. That's why we have mentioned in this way, okay. So the zygote, so this is the zygote, and the zygote undergoing meiosis and produces, okay, four cells at the end of meiosis, and these are, okay, called spores. And these spores are haploid because the type of division involved is meiosis, and that results in the formation of haploid cells, and they are spores. And these, okay, spores, upon germination, okay, they give rise to gametophyte. Of course, okay, germination and mitosis results in the formation of gametophyte, and that gametophyte will be multicellular. A gametophyte is multicellular, okay. Here we know the zygote is single cell, the zygote is single cell, okay, right. And one important point to keep in mind is zygote is the first cell of sporophytic generation, okay. So zygote is the first cell of sporophytic generation, okay, right. So the gametophyte, by gametogenesis, it produces male and female gametes, okay, they unite, okay, that's fertilization or syngamy, and results in the formation of zygote. The zygote undergoes meiosis, and then, okay, results in the formation of haploid spores. Those germinate and undergo mitosis to give rise to multicellular gametophyte. Okay, now, right, so here only this much of portion, so whatever we see here, okay, will be the sporophytic generation. Okay, so this portion is the sporophytic generation. Okay, so the remaining all is the gametophytic generation. So only this portion which I have mentioned in the, okay, black box is the sporophyte. So I'll just mention here. So this is the sporophyte, and the remaining all it is the gametophyte. Okay, so now if you look at in the case of a tree, I told you in most of the means whenever you see the tree, you will see it in the sporophyte. So whatever that trees, the plants you are seeing outside, they're all sporophytes. Okay, and gametophytes you will see it only for a short period of time when they produce flowers. Okay, right, so this is what we call haplontic life cycle. Now, the sporophyte is not, okay, free living. Okay, so in this type of life cycle, okay, in this type of life cycle, okay, there are no free living sporophytes. So there are no free living sporophytes. Okay, free living sporophytes are not at all present in this case. Okay, this is only one cell, right, and it does not perform photosynthesis, and it is dependent on the gametophyte. Okay, so this is what we call the haplontic life cycle. Haplontic life cycle. Now, let's see some examples where we see this haplontic life cycle. Okay, so this life cycle is seen in many algae. So, example, right, many algae. So, it is seen in, okay, many algae like volvox, spirogyra, okay, and some species of chlamydomonas, some species of chlamydomonas will show this type of life cycle, that is a haplontic life cycle, right. Right, so the next one we shall see about diplontic life cycle. Okay, so we'll see about diplontic life cycle. Okay, so coming to this diplontic life cycle, in this case, okay, here we have the sporophyte is dominant. The sporophyte will be dominant, and this sporophyte is free living, so that is independent. Okay, so it is free living, it doesn't depend on gametophyte, it is independent, and then it is photosynthetic, means it performs the process of photosynthesis, and the sporophyte is multicellular. Okay, So free living or independent phase. So it is a free living or independent phase, photosynthetic, and it is multicellular. So let's see here, sporophyte. So this will be diploid in condition, and this sporophyte by means of meiosis, okay, so it produces, okay, spores, right? So we know sporophyte is a spore producing, and it produces spores, okay, and these spores are haploid, okay, and these spores on germination they give rise to gametophyte. So these are spores, okay, and these spores on germination they give rise to gametophyte, okay, right? And here this gametophyte will be one to few cell. The gametophyte will be one to few cell, okay. So we have seen in case of angiosperms the pollen grain is, okay, two celled, and in case of embryo sac, so it has right a few cells, okay. And this gametophyte, by the process of gametogenesis, so it produces gametes, okay, it produces gametes, and these gametes, okay, undergo fusion and result, of course, syngamy, that is fertilization, and results in the formation of zygote. So this is 2n, and this zygote, okay, will undergo mitosis to give rise to sporophyte. So it gives rise to sporophyte. So here also we can see the mitosis. Okay, so the gametophyte formation, and the gametophyte will give rise to gametogenesis. The gametogenesis is the formation of gametes, and that, okay, results in formation of male and female gametes which unite to form zygote. So here in this cycle we see, right, only, okay, so this phase of gametophyte, so only this one portion will be the gametophytic portion. So the rest all is sporophyte. It means that the plant lives in sporophytic condition only. So just now I discussed about the angiospermic plants, okay. All the trees what you see, that is a sporophyte, okay, and now and then they produce the gametophyte. So gametophyte is very short lived and sporophyte is long lived. And this type of life cycle, the diplontic life cycle, okay, is present in all seed bearing plants, in all seed bearing plants. So that will be gymnosperms and angiosperms. So there will be gymnosperms. So these are seed bearing plants. Not only in these seed bearing plants we see this type of life cycle, we can see even in some algae like fucus. So this is an alga. So in that also we will see this diplontic life cycle, right? I hope it's clear. I'll just mention here the sporophyte is multicellular, okay, and here gametophyte is one to few cell. So that's about diplontic life cycle. So then the next one, the last one will be haplodiplontic life cycles. So the last one is a haplodiplontic life cycle. Okay, so coming to this haplodiplontic life cycle, okay, so here one point is both phases, this is the important, both phases are multicellular. So you have seen in earlier cases, in some cases a sporophyte is multicellular, in some case the sporophyte is single cell. Okay, and you have seen in some case gametophyte, okay, few celled, and in some cases gametophyte multicellular. But coming to haplodiplontic life cycle, okay, this is actually an intermediate condition. So intermediate condition between haplontic and diplontic life cycle. So that's why we have called it haplodiplontic life cycle, in which we see both the phases will be multicellular. Both the phases are multicellular, but okay, the dominant phase will be different. So the dominant phases will be different. Okay, like for example, in bryophytes. So in bryophytes, okay, so the dominant phase will be the gametophyte. In bryophytes, dominant phase is gametophyte. So the dominant phase is gametophyte, and this gametophyte is independent. So it is independent. So which means right, free living, and this will be photosynthetic, means it performs photosynthesis, and this is multicellular, okay, made up of many cells, and you may see it as either thalloid or erect, means it may grow flat on the substratum or may grow vertical on the substratum. So that is thalloid or erect. So this is the gametophyte, that is a haploid phase in case of bryophytes. So all bryophytes are examples for this. Okay, and coming to the next one, the sporophyte. Okay, we know that in any plant the gametophyte will give rise to sporophyte, and sporophyte will give rise to gametophyte. So coming to this sporophyte in these groups, okay, so the sporophyte is short-lived. The sporophyte is short-lived, and this is multicellular. It is multicellular, okay, and it may uh, depend totally or partially on the gametophyte. So depends totally or partially on gametophytes. So depends totally or partially on gametophyte. So that is about the sporophyte in case of these bryophytes, where the dominant phase is gametophyte, right? Okay, here one point. So depends totally on partially on gametophyte. So that may be for the purpose of anchorage or nutrition. Okay, so anchorage, the support for its growth, and nutrition, okay, that is also required for its growth. Then coming to, okay, so in another cases, okay, the pteridophytes. So in case of pteridophytes, we see a different case. In pteridophytes, so that is all pteridophytes, the dominant phase the dominant phase will be, okay, the sporophyte. So the dominant phase is sporophyte, that is diploid. Okay, and in this case, this dominant phase sporophyte is independent. So this is independent. Okay, and this one, okay, performs photosynthesis. It is photosynthetic, and then it is a vascular body. So here vascular body, which means it consists of vascular tissues. So that is having, okay, vascular tissues, having vascular tissues. So it has vascular tissues. Okay, and then it will alternate with the gametophyte. It alternates with the gametophyte. So coming to this gametophyte, so the gametophyte is independent. So this is independent, and this is short-lived. It is short-lived. Okay, so here in this case the sporophyte is the short-lived, and in this case this one is short-lived. Okay, of course here the sporophyte is also multicellular, and this gametophyte is also, okay, multicellular. Okay, so gametophyte is independent, short-lived, okay, and multicellular, and this may be, okay, autotrophic, means capable of performing photosynthesis. So it may be autotrophic, or, okay, saprophytic. So it may be autotrophic or saprophytic, right? So this is how the dominant phases will change in case of bryophytes and pteridophytes. So such type of life cycles where both phases are multicellular, we consider them haplodiploidic life cycles. Okay, so let's see. So how it is seen. Gametophyte, which is haploid. Okay, so this haploid gametophyte is multicellular. So this is multicellular, and this one, okay, gives rise to gametes by process of gametogenesis. So it produces male and female gametes. Okay, so both the male gametes and female gametes, okay, they unite. Okay, so the process is called singamy, and this will result in the formation of zygote. So that is 2n. We know zygote is the first cell of sporophyte, and this one will give rise to the sporophyte, which will be diploid, and this is also multicellular. So this is also multicellular. Okay, and this one, by the process of okay, meiosis, it results in the formation of spores. So these spores are haploid, and these spores, upon germination, they give rise to gametophyte. So it gives rise to gametophyte. Okay, so in this case, okay, right from the singamy, okay, so all this portion will be the sporophyte. Okay, so this is all the sporophytic phase, right? And this will be the gametophytic phase. Is the gametophytic phase. Okay, right. This is what we call haplodiploidic life cycle. So right, lastly, one point. So in case of alga, in case of algae, we see all the three types of life cycles. We see haplontic life cycle, diplontic, and haplodiploidic life cycles. So here, most genera of algae, okay, so most genera of algae, they exhibit a haplontic life cycle. Haplontic life cycle. Okay, and coming to diplontic, fucus. So fucus, it shows diplontic life cycle. Okay, and coming to ectocarpus, then Polysyphonia, right, and then Kelps. So all these are algae and they show haplodiplontic life cycle. Okay, so this is a last one small point, okay, important on algae. So algae will show all the three, some species will show haplontic life cycle, some species will show diplontic, and some will show haplodiplontic life cycles. Okay, so with this we finish the chapter Plant Kingdom.